Hello, it is Ryan, and we could all use an extra bright spot in our day, couldn't we? Just to make up for things like sitting in traffic, doing the dishes, counting your steps, all the mundane stuff. That is why I'm such a big fan of Chumba Casino. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere with daily bonuses. That should brighten your day a little. Actually, a lot. So sign up now at chumbacasino.com. That's chumbacasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18 plus.
We don't know what we're doing.
We never know. I definitely, every time I think I know what I'm doing, I find out I'm so very wrong.
Yeah, so the overview is that we're trying to start a series where we spend anywhere from 5 minutes to 15 minutes talking about a certain plant. So we wanted to start with wild violet since they are invasive as crap. I just pulled a ton of them out of our front garden where we don't want them at. And for years and years and years and years, Blake's been like, this weed is, we got to destroy it. And I'm like, no, they're so pretty. And I'm pretty sure they're edible. And so they are. So all I did, because this is your area, department, pathway. You know way more about herbs and plants and stuff than I do, and I'm working on it, but you've been a wealth of information for me, so I just wanted to bring you on here and share you with the world because we all want to know what to do with wild violets since they are freaking everywhere in Alabama anyway, where we're at. So
Yeah.
our
And
zone.
it's fun. Go ahead.
What's our zone? Because it changed, right?
We are in 7B right now.
Right now?
But yeah, it was 7A and then it changed to 7B, which is slightly more tropical, but I still don't believe it because we keep having these weird like freak freezes out of nowhere that, well, I say out of nowhere, but they're like out of character for 7B. So, even if it gets that way for 3 days, it's still enough to kill your plants if you're planting more tropical type things. So I don't trust it.
Okay, so stick with 7A.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Okay, so that's where we're located anyway. So
Yes.
tell us what you know about wild violets. And all I did was plug in to Gemini, which is AI, Google's AI. I said, tell me everything I can do with wild violets. So you go, and I'll fill in the blanks with what Gemini said.
Okay, that sounds good.
Yeah.
First of all, they are very prolific. I was trying to think, the word was escaping me. I was going out to check my mailbox today, and I have an asphalt driveway, and there was like this teeny tiny, like a 1 inch crack in my driveway, and I saw something purple, and I was like, what is that? Because, I'm always looking at the ground. I'm either looking for rocks or looking for plants. And I seen something purple, so I looked at it closer, and it was a little wild violet growing in that teeny tiny crack in the asphalt. But
Yeah, Blake asked
they
me the other
are.
day. We just redid the front garden, so we had to like get them all out. And I was like, look, make sure you dig up the roots because that's how they're gonna come right back if you don't, and they're gonna take over everything. And he was like, where do they come from in the first place? I said, the air.
Yeah.
He was insistent that I had planted them. He was like, no, you threw all sorts of wild seeds. I was like, no, these come from the air.
I don't know how they spread so much through those rhizomes, but I mean, I wonder, it does make you wonder, like, does the flower produce? I don't even know this. Like, does the flower also produce a seed that birds eat or something that, they poop it out in various places? I don't know. So, what I know, I've got to look at my notes. What I know is that they are edible and medicinal. The flowers are kind of peppery tasting, but like not nearly as strong as something like nasturtium. So they're a little peppery. You can use the flowers to like decorate cakes or freeze them in ice cubes and put them in your drinks to make them look pretty. You can just throw them in salads to make salads look prettier. Let's see. You can make like a simple syrup and make like a purple syrup to make like to mix things with, like mixed drinks and stuff like that. Um,
Are all parts edible? Like the root, the stem,
yes.
the leaves, the flowers, all of
All the parts above ground. I've never seen anything that said, and not just because I've never seen it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist, but I've never seen anything that said that the rhizomes or the root was edible. So therefore, I've never eaten that
Yeah,
part.
I just Googled it and it said that the roots are generally not considered editable and are best avoided. So,
Okay, well,
correct. Don't eat the roots. Everything
yeah,
above the ground.
yes. So they taste good. They're peppery. You can make jelly and syrup out of them. It makes like a really pretty light pinkish purple jelly or syrup. Um, they have uh, a lot of vitamin C, vitamin A, calcium, and magnesium, and they are anti-inflammatory. So I always use them mostly for tea. Um, it's supposed to promote sleep, but I don't know that I'm really high strung, so it kind of takes a lot to knock me down a notch.
Same.
So they may work for other people for sleep benefits, but I have not experienced that personally myself. Um,
It's arguably too that you would if it's good for sleep, it's oftentimes good for anxiety as well.
yeah,
That's
probably
just out of my
so.
head.
Yeah, yeah. But they are an expectorant. So if you're having like lung issues like colds, bronchitis, flu, anything where you have a lot of like stuff you want to cough up and get out of your body, a good strong tea with wild violets is good.
That's awesome. Would you'd say like just a handful of fresh flowers?
Yeah, generally I go by the rule of thumb for about 2 to 3 tablespoons of fresh flowers and leaves to, 8 to 10 ounces of water. If it's dried, you'll probably want to knock that down to like 2 teaspoons. But this
Okay.
time of the year, there's,
So
sorry, go ahead.
dried is more potent, you're saying?
Yes, yes.
Interesting.
So,
Because you would think it would be
yeah,
the opposite.
I think it's just because the water evaporates out of it, so it's just kind of more concentrated.
Oh, okay. Okay. So we're starting from scratch here. I'm going to write that down so that we can put it in the show notes below. So you said 2 tablespoons fresh
Yeah, 2 to 3 tablespoons fresh for 8 ounces of water.
and then knock that down to how much dried?
1 to 2 teaspoons dried.
Cool. All right.
So, mm, so they're an immune stimulant and an expectorant. So if you're not feeling well, they're good for that. They also contain salicylic acid. So, did I pronounce that? You're smiling like I pronounced it different than you do.
No, no. It reminded me of psychedelic mushrooms.
Oh,
Psilocybin.
Sibus. Now I can't say it. Now I can't
Yeah,
think of it.
you're welcome. Everyone's welcome.
Yeah. Yeah, everybody is listening to this trying to figure out and remember how to pronounce it correctly because we've done butchered it.
Yeah.
Salicylic acid, which is good for disinfectant and fungal. It's antifungal, so it's good for like skin irritations and stuff like that. So, um, like a poultice if you make a poultice where you just kind of like chop and mush up the leaves and stems and mix it with a little bit of water, and then you can like wrap that in gauze and put it on like skin infections or inflamed skin or anything like that. It will help promote like wound healing and antibacterial infection stuff.
Awesome. I didn't realize how many notes I was going to need to take, but I need to get a whole notebook out for the next episode. But the first one's always the hardest.
Yeah.
So AI says that you can add them to salads and backs you up on having a sweet and peppery flavor. Uh, you can do candied violets, apparently, for it doesn't tell me what candied violets are, though. It just says as decorative toppings. Um, let's see. What are candied violets? Preserved in sugar, primarily
Uh,
used as beautiful and elegant decorative garnishes for desserts. Essentially, violet flowers that have been crystallized with sugar. The process preserves the delicate beauty and adds a sweet floral flavor. Cool. So we're not gonna, it's not giving me much information on how to do that, but we don't really care. You can Google it specifically if you want to.
yeah.
You can make violet sugar, which is infused sugar with violet petals. For so that you would just take like a jar of sugar and mix petals into it. How aesthetically pleasing. That's so
That
charming.
would be pretty. That would be really pretty.
Yeah, I loved them, and then they started crowding out all of my other plants. So I'm starting to hate them, but then
Yeah.
reading up on all the things that they're good for makes me like them again a little bit. Start doing things with them.
Yeah.
You can do go ahead.
I would think that probably if you're harvesting a lot of the leaves and stuff like that for you know, for using, that it would probably slow down the growth and how fast they would like take over
Oh
because,
yeah, that makes
they've got
sense.
to, more energy is going to regrowing new leaves and stuff versus they're doing great and have all the leaves to photosynthesize, so we're going to spread roots everywhere.
Yeah, what are we making the tea out of the leaves and the flowers or just the flowers?
You can use both for the leaves or for the tea. Yeah.
Okay, so they pretty much have the same properties, the leaves and the,
Yeah.
yeah, no different.
Yeah. The flowers are just kind of more the peppery, but really when you put it in tea, you don't taste peppery. It's more the peppery taste to me has always been more um in like when you're eating just chewing up a leaf, you kind of taste it then, but but with the tea, it just kind of tastes a little grassy.
A little grassy.
A little grassy.
So you can make violet syrup. So it says create a violet syrup from drinks, desserts, and ice creams, which you mentioned that a simple syrup. Um, so a simple syrup is just what is it like sugar and water, and then you mix
Yeah,
the
it's equal parts of sugar and water, and you mix it in a saucepan and just heat it until the sugar dissolves.
and it's
So,
blue.
yes. So if you were doing it with the violet leaves, you would just like toss or not leaves, but flowers. You would just toss them in there when you mix it up and heat it and just stir it till it dissolves and then strain the leaves out.
Yeah, what would be the purpose of that? Would we be using that for medicinal properties, or would the heating of it kill the medicinal properties?
I would think the heating would kill the medicinal properties probably. I think it's just kind of something, just a little extra fancy, something pretty.
Okay. Well, we love the aesthetics.
Yes.
You can do jellies and honeys. Says add to cooked foods, just to, and probably also for aesthetic purposes. But if you use it like any other herb, uh, A lot of people don't realize that most medicinal herbs aren't made to be used like in the seasoning of the food initially, but more is like thrown in afterwards so that they're not, because the more you cook things, the more broken down the properties are. So you want to add those kind of as like an afterthought for the maximum effect of medicinal properties. Yeah,
Right, yeah.
cool. And then yeah, it says respiratory health, anti-inflammatory, skin care, and vitamins A and C. Decorative crafts. And I Googled how they reproduce, and it says the same way every other flower reproduces, which again doesn't make sense to us. Seed dispersal, pollination says that the seed capsules ripen and then burst open, scattering the seeds.
Okay.
It says ants also play a significant role in seed dispersal. Ants find it says they have a fleshy appendage, oh, uh, that ants are attracted to, and the ants carry the seeds back into their nests and yeah, effectively planting it.
Huh.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
neither did I. Interesting, right?
Yeah.
All right, cool. So, ta-da, wild violets.
Done.
Anything else we can add before we move on to a different one?
Um, oh, I also had noted that you could make an infused vinegar. So you take and pack. Did you see that one?
Yeah, it was on here and somehow I just completely like walked over it.
Yeah. So you can like pack the leaves and flowers into a jar and cover it with vinegar and let it sit for like 4 to 6 weeks in a cabinet and shake it every once in a while and then strain it, and then you can like either take a shot or mix it with honey for oxymels. That would have medicinal purpose or uses between the honey and the vinegar and the violets. So you could do that.
So are so we're mixing the vinegar infused violets with the honey,
The
or those are two separate things?
violet infused, no, it's the same thing. The violet infused vinegar, you mix it with the honey. So you would do like equal parts of vinegar and honey, and they call that an oxymel. And it would essentially have quite a bit of medicinal purposes, especially for like colds, because the honey would coat your throat.
Mhm.
The apple cider vinegar is beneficial for your health, and then the wild violets would help you cough up the muck.
Yeah. So we want to use apple cider vinegar specifically, not distilled.
Yeah, you could probably use distilled if you wanted to make it pretty for like just like a salad dressing, but if you want the health benefits, then definitely use apple cider vinegar.
Cool. All right. And disclaimer, always consult your doctor and do your own research. Don't take advice from random moms you found on the internet.
Right.
All right. Cool.
Okay.
So, end.
All right.
Step into the world of power, loyalty, and luck.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
With family, cannolis, and spins mean everything.
Now, you wanna get mixed up in the family business.
Introducing The Godfather at ChumbaCasino.com. Test your luck in the shadowy world of The Godfather slot.
Someday, I will call upon you to do a service for me.
Play The Godfather now at ChumbaCasino.com.
Welcome to the family.